We're just here at the office all day, but it's good. It's good. We got this one young lady in the office right now. She really don't need no introductions because after I read her bio about the thing, I didn't know you did all this. It was so amazing reading that bio, and I didn't even know that San Antonio Black International Film Festival. We got Miss Ada Babino. I got a thumbs up. It only took me 2 years to pronounce, but anyway, we have her in the studio today, and we're in for a treat. This is coming up real fast, October 4th and the 6th. Let me cut her mic up so we can hear her.
4 through 6, very fast. I'm stressing.
Why?
Lot to do, man. Lot to do.
A lot to do. So, what all you have coming up? Because last year, it went pretty good. I was there for the ceremony at the end.
Awards brunch, yeah.
Awards brunch.
You
I was
were.
there last year, and there was this one guy from Dallas. I remember he said, "Well, San Antonio is an untapped market, and he's going to try to do his next film here in Dallas." I remember talking to him about that last year. So, how was last year compared getting things going to right now?
Last year was a pinnacle year. That was our 5th year anniversary. So we were just like, we made it to 5 years. You know, we started in 2019 and then we had to jump out because COVID was 2020, 21. So 2 years we were online. So 2 of our 6 years were definitely online, but that gave us a time to garnish a larger following from around the world. That, you know, during that time we were on lockdown, people were doing nothing but on their computers watching, and so we got a really amazing following those 2 years. But last year, the 5th year, was major. We that was the first time we were able to physically bring in a named performer. We gave our Ankh Achievement Award. Our Ankh is our Lifetime Achievement Award to Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen, and the theme of last year was HBCU Film Love. So we change our theme every year, and being an HBCU grad who went to Howard as well, there was no one else. They were the ones to bring in that year out of all that they have contributed to our universe with their talents, multi talents. So that was amazing. We were able to bring in Felicia, and Debbie came on via virtually, and we had a beautiful time. The AKAs came out and gave her an award and did their stroll, and it was just an amazing night. We had people there that had never participated with our festival. So we're hoping that we continue to grow our audience space, and so that people find that there is important in having a film festival that represents our culture and our people, our stories.
Yeah, and you know, you have those short stories, and that's what I like sometimes, these short films that they have. It's so much detail into the short film, but yet what I like about it, they get the point across. It isn't like a 3-hour film, you got to look at it and as it's coming together. With a short film, they don't have time for that.
Yeah, you got to get in and get out. So it's not the formula 4-act play. I mean 3-act play. You have to come in and tell the story and hit home with it in a very short period. And that's what I love. And that's what I love about film festivals. There are so many independent filmmakers out there that are making films that people never see. They never see because it's not like they make them in their program for television and they show on TV. Now you have streaming, so there are different streaming platforms that do take in Black independent films, but it's a rarity that we offer a really rare opportunity to see the talent that is out there in our world, not just in our nation, but in our world, because this is an international film festival. So we connect stories from all around the world, filmmakers all around the world, that produce films by, for, and are about people of African descent. So it's amazing, yeah, the stuff that we get in.
So what are you looking for this year? Have anybody jumped out at you this year, like saying, wow?
Oh yeah. There's always, it's surprising because I don't think people realize the process of what it takes to make a film, it's as amazing as it is to birth a baby. I mean, it is, because you never know when you birth a baby what the end product is going to be.
Yeah.
You go through that gestation period, which we call pre-production and production, and that's a gestation period where you really grow and develop and nurture your film, taking it from script to actually bringing everybody on board with their creativity, the cinematographer, the gaffers, the grips, the lighters, the props, the costumes, makeup. All of those people are instrumental, as are, when you birth in, the midwife, the doctor, the nurse. It's the same process, and you go through the same type of growing pain and challenges to get these products done. So to have a film festival and to have these international filmmakers from all over the world take the time to answer to your open call, which is open call is, when we put it out there that we are doing a film festival and you can submit your films for our festival, and then they're judged and they're selected and they're programmed and curated for the audience. But it's a major process, and it's an honor to not only showcase their films and bring their films to the forefront, because as a parent, you want the best for your child. As a filmmaker, you want the best for your film. You want an audience to see it. You want to get feedback. You want to get praise, criticism, whatever. You want it out there. You want it to be a part of your legacy. And so, yeah, it is a real honor to not only produce this film festival, but to allow it to be a platform that not only brings filmmakers together, but also brings the community together in support of what the filmmakers do. So, did I answer your question? I'm rambling.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
But you said something there that brought up another question.
Mm-hmm.
People to submit their films and tell you how many hours or days it takes to go through all the films and pick the one that you want.
So we offer an open call there's a platform online called Film Freeway, filmfreeway.com. And so filmmakers are familiar with that platform, because that is a platform where you submit your works. So when they submit their works online, they pay their fees online, they submit their films, they have their bio, they have promos, pictures, all of that is on their profile on Film Freeway. And so they submit it, and then we have judges that judge virtually. They get their code to get on Film Freeway, and they will see all the films there. So the open call first is like a 5-6 month period. So we'll open our open call typically mid-January or or early February, and then end it maybe June or July, depending on what's going on at our festival. So we have about 20-25 judges, and they pretty much look at films on their leisure time within that 5-month process as they're being submitted. And there's a scorecard where they rate them by 1 to 10 on best cinematography. How's the audio? How's the acting? So all of that is rated. And then we have myself and a co-programmer, Datmain Duane, which is also a filmmaker. We actually take those scores and we make our selections based on the scores that the judges have done, and that's how we curate our festival. And so our part is to, one, find venues. We want to find nice venues to actually showcase those films that are selected. One of the problems that we're having is that we don't have let me say this, not problems, I don't want to say problem, but because I'm an East Side girl, born and bred here, raised here, I think it's important, or my mandate is to have this film festival centered on the East Side, which was once the black side of town. It has totally faded away from that because everybody's moved on, but that is historically the black side of town, and it's a side of town that gets a bad rap, Yeah. And so for me, it's important to have our film festival centered on the East Side. Typically, people come on the East Side, they do their MLK march, they leave. The Spurs are on the East Side, people come into the game, they leave. So I think this is a time to really, as we grow, to grow economic development through our festival on the East Side. So one of the challenges for me is to find venues appropriate venues to showcase these films. I think it's important to have the proper setting for these filmmakers' films to show. And so we always have we only have really 2 or 3 places that we've been using. This year, we're so grateful that our cultural hubs are who've partnered with us on many occasions. The Carver Community Cultural Center, they have the Big Carver and they have the Little Carver Civic Center. So those have the 2 screens, and we're going to utilize those as our venues to play the filmmakers' films. So we have 2 screens. We're going to show all day films on both screens simultaneously based on what we curated. We've selected 34 films. And this year we're highlighting Black Texas filmmakers. So we have some Texas filmmaker blocks that we've put together. And when I say blocks, the films are programmed into blocks. Like if you have a feature film, a dramatic feature film or a documentary feature film, that's typically an hour or more. So that's one block. But if you have short film, we may have 5 short films in a block that are meshed together, and that's a block. So we've put together blocks of films. There's 13 blocks of films on both screens simultaneously. We've selected 34 films this year, which is low for a film festival. But I knew that we didn't have the venue space to take a big open call to program. So that's one of the things we want to work on, just trying to get adequate venue places to show so that we can, as we grow, have films playing on multiple screens throughout the East Side District 2 area.
So in the past, with your film festival, how many people you get from around the country and around the world that enters this?
Oh God, it's always surprising and in a good sense, because we've had films from Senegal, from Ghana, from France, from Israel, from Pakistan, we haven't gotten any from Japan yet, but from the Asia areas, but some South Africa. We've had a really good amount of films come in from other places. But our drive is to get more, because we really need to establish more, promotions to really get more films internationally from different places on a larger scale. We may get 2 here from South Africa, 2 from Senegal, but it's not 10 or 20 coming in from all these different places at this point so far. But we've had some wonderful films that have even won awards throughout the year. It's always nice to see the different style and the different storylines that come across international as opposed to U.S. filmmakers. And a lot of times it's at a whole nother level. They're universal stories, but some of the things they think of to produce on are very different. We had a film from I don't know if it was Cameroon or Senegal. It was one of those places, but it was about this brother who was trying to make a better life for himself. So he started to migrate to walk through to other countries to find work, and he got kidnapped, and he got kidnapped and turned into a slave for diamonds in I can't remember what country it is in. So his story on the documentary was about his experience being kidnapped, and then he was somehow saved and went on. This brother's still alive in Maryland. I would think that his life is full of PTSD, but that type of story is it draws you in. It's so dramatic, and so we get those type of things. It's more deep. It's deeper, and it's on a deeper level on some of the stories that come in internationally that deal with life stuff. But just great stuff. And I'm always just so amazed and surprised. People are still able to make these films, to produce the films, to get them out there, because it is hard as hell to make a film. I'm telling you. And the biggest thing is financing, as is this festival. The biggest thing is financing, trying to get enough money to do what you do. And so it's always, just like I said, an honor to be a platform for these filmmakers. Yeah. You said something, let me see if I get this on.
the people that make films, do they generally come up with original idea in their head, or do they see the way the climate is today and make a film based off what they're going through or what they've been through?
It's a combination. You know, when it was when we were in COVID and we had the whole George Floyd incidents among us, so there were a lot of films that were coming in that spoke to profiling, that spoke to policing, that spoke to killing and all of that, just discrimination. And so it depends. The climate oftentimes, and what they're facing in society is oftentimes the impetus to move forward on thinking thoughts about what you want to say, what you want to get out. So that's a big piece to it. But also there are things that people are very passionate about. That they produce films on. I mean, my first film that I did as a young independent filmmaker was on hair, and I think that for a lot of black women, that's usually in there somewhere. There's films about hair and identity, because that was important to me to do a film on hair, because I think people make such a big deal and judgment and all of that craziness around hair. It's very political. So that was one of my first films, and so. James Baldwin says that that he said, I don't remember the quote offhand, but he comments on that, how art reflects culture or reflects your reality, and a lot of times your job as an artist is to not make people comfortable, but make people conscious of what's going on. And it's such a powerful medium. I mean, this medium of film was used to oppress us, to stereotype us. To the whole Jezebel and Buck and all that craziness came from the first film that they made was Birth of a Nation, and so we were at the pit of that as black people, the way we were stereotyped and typecast and blackface and all of that. So film can also be used as a force for good. It can be used as activism. It can be used as education, entertainment, because you're bringing in all of your senses when you focus on film. You're seeing it, you're hearing it, you're feeling it. You can't taste it, but it can leave a taste in your mouth. It can leave a memory in your mouth, and it can take you to places that you may never venture to in life.
Yeah, you just said something there that everybody can't be a photographer or a filmmaker, because I do photography, and I see something different in the lens that other people don't see. And I think filmmaking is the same way. You got to see something that you see, because when I first started off photography, I was doing a football game, and I went to this one guy who was a photographer. Said, "Look, I just got this camera. I don't know the settings and nothing on it." He came, did this, did all. Okay, y'all set. I said, "Okay." I said, "So what should I do?" He said, "You see them 20 people right there? They're all gonna get the same shot. Stay away from them. Do your own thing. Then if you get a money shot," I said, "What's a money shot?" And he was telling me what it was. So my very first time taking pictures at a football game, I watched the quarterback throw the ball. I followed the ball all the way to the receiver catching the ball for a touchdown. He come running down and said, "Tell me you got this." I don't know, look at it. He said, "Dude, you got a money shot. Parents gonna pay anything for this right here. This is a money shot. Everybody cannot do this. They're doing anything else." And I said, "Oh, okay." So that got me hooked in photography, because I was making some money like that. But what the point I'm trying to make is, when you go out and you want to be a filmmaker, you want to start doing all that, what is the procedures that you give anybody advice of what to do?
Procedures, man. There ain't no damn procedures. You got to be half crazy, and you got because so people do it for different reasons. People do it, one, because they're passionate about it, because they have something to say. People may do it because they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to they have a stereotype that filmmaker is glamorous and all that. No, it's not a glamorous thing. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of struggle. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of responsibility. So it's not a profession you can take lightly. I mean, some people well, you may get picked up, and like an Ava DuVernay or Spike Lee, they work hard, they do their shorts, independent films, and then they get picked up, and then their life changes. That's not the majority of what a filmmaker's life is in terms of getting picked up and being up there. There's not that many. What is that? Coolidge?
Yeah, I know.
Spike Lee. David Durant. There's not that many of us that get picked up. But you have to love what you do. You have to have a commitment and a connection to your work. You have to, like I learned when I was coming up. Haile Garima, one of my professors at Howard University, do something you're passionate about. Yeah. And that will make it all worthwhile to you, whether you get picked up or not. But everybody pretty much has a story to say. And when I was coming up, I didn't even know that there was a world of Black independent filmmakers that existed. Because all you see is Hollywood. You see your stuff on TV, you see the big movies. People don't know that there is a beckoning world of filmmakers that are doing films regardless of whether you know their names or not. And like I said, this being a platform to bring those films to audiences, so they can see the light of day and get that feedback is like I said, it's an honor. It's an honor.
I remember growing up in the Chicago area that I would go to one of these black short films. That's how they call it, black short films. Mm-hmm. And I would go down there and sit down and watch for 2-3 hours, and I was amazed. These short films, 15, 20 minutes long, and the point they were making, and they took pride in what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And they never probably got picked up by Hollywood, but they were known around that area as filmmakers, because everybody treated them like they were famous in what they were doing, because they took the time out and they got local talent right there. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to go, and somebody said, "You want to be in my movie?" Sure. They didn't have to worry about how much you're going to pay them. They didn't care. They just want to be in the movies. And that's how it was. And that's how struggling artists did things back in the days. And I figure it's probably the same thing now.
Oh, yeah. It is a struggling artist thing. I know when I made my first film, I had a $5,000 grant. And basically everybody I pulled from who I knew, because I used to work at BET, so I was pulling all my co-workers. Hey, you do prop. The art director pulled him in. He got the props. I got the DP, and you have to scale it down, because if you're dealing with people's time and you're not paying them, you got to feed them well, and you got to have a short schedule. So I said, okay, we're gonna do this film over the weekend, and we're gonna schedule it. Top of the morning into the night, 2 days, feed them well, make sure everybody is happy on set, and be organized and ready. And everybody brings it together with their skills and talent. You gotta have skilled people, but it is amazing the way they're able to pull these things together. And I'll say, like, it's always a surprise to me. Like this year, we got a film on Marcus Garvey. We got a short film on Marcus Garvey. I'm like, in the universe, to bring that together when you think people don't even think about history, to get this film. We have a wonderful romantic comedy that we're premiering at our Cinema Under the Stars by Dallas. Both of the brothers I'm talking about are Dallas filmmakers. We have a film called Veils, and that's a film it's a film that was turned from a play into a feature film that deals with Trayvon Martin. And Veils is like his mother's grieving and how she has to come to grips with the reality of this. So the stuff that's coming out, you're just like blown away, like, wow. It's like when Jill Scott came out of nowhere. You're just like, wow, where'd she come from?
Yeah.
It's that type of thing with film. It's like, wow, where'd you come from? Like, you're bringing us this amazing work out of this amazing historical work or amazing whatever, and it's just it's wonderful to see. It's surprising and it's wonderful to see the type of things that we get in. It's just amazing.
Right. It's like when you say, when somebody come out and say aha moment, like, where have you been all this time? I've been right here, because there are people out there just waiting to be discovered, and I think they're not waiting, they just wouldn't know when their break is going to come.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing to say. I know I'm good, but when I'm gonna get that big break that's gonna put me over the edge? And if they do get that big break, are they able to handle it?
And I don't think that people. I think that when you're doing it, it's a passion thing. It's a commitment thing. I don't think in your mind you're like, I'm waiting for a big break. You just keep doing, and people will come to you. Like I look at Ava DuVernay. People came to her when she went from a small independent film that she had on the circuits, and then she went to Selma. I mean, from her small independent film to Selma was major. And then getting in that position where you're gonna hire other, you're gonna be a film activist and hire other black women when you do Queen's Sugar. Only black women directors are bringing on, and so once you get there, you've got to pull other people up with you. But I don't know if it's just like I'm doing it to get a big break. I think you're doing it because it's you're passionate about it, because there's a need, there's a desire to have a voice that is oftentimes stifled. And marginalized and not brought out in fairness and justice. Like there's so many talented people out here. It's amazing. It's so many talented people. We just had this brother. We showed his film Dame Drummer. He's a musician out of Oakland, and we showed his film Black Daddy the movie.
Yes.
And we showed that film 2 years ago. It was in the festival. It didn't win. It was a good film. So what I always do, I circle back to filmmakers whose films may not have won, but they're exceptional. They need to be seen again. And I program them the following year so that we can have time to program it and spotlight it, but also have time for post-discussion with the filmmaker. Right. And we bring that together. So we brought his film back for Father's Day. And it just so happened that there was a reverend in the audience, and he liked the film, and he wanted to bring the film back for a men's retreat. And they just had that this past week, and they brought Dame back for a men's retreat. He showed his film. They retreat. So all types of magic comes alive when you through film. Film can take you places that you've never imagined. I mean, I've been to Milan. I've been to Berlin. I've been to wherever, just Jamaica, Ghana. Film has taken me to places that I would have never dreamed of going. So yeah, it's amazing opportunities come when you have quality work that people respect and admire and want to push it forward.
Which brings me to this point right here. Mm-hmm. Silent films. The reason why I bring that up, I remember watching some when I was a kid. You had to use.
You dating yourself, Ron?
Yeah, I know. I know. We had to use it, and we had to do our imagination and see where they were going to. And it got pretty good when the silent film came on. To this day, I will find some on TV just to watch. Mm-hmm. And you can look at it, and it tells the story. If you pay attention to it, you know what that film is all about. Mm-hmm. So do we see a comeback, or maybe somebody doing a silent film somewhere down the line?
Well, it's not your traditional silent film where it's silent and they're motioning, and then it goes to black, and then it comes up, and then there's word. But there's been films. I think of the film called Sound, and that film premiered, I think, on our first or our second festival. I don't remember. But the film had this soundtrack that was phenomenal. The woman in the film didn't ever say a word, but the emotions of what she was going through and how the sounds were impacting her life and getting bigger and bigger and growing and growing. That film, it won one of our short films, but it was a silent film. It was amazing, but the emotions with the music, the acting, and the intention of the directing was phenomenal. So Sound, and there was a film, Music for a While, also was about a homeless guy, and it dealt with sounds around him and what he was going through. You saw his anguish of being successful in losing, the loss and the sounds that went around. But so there are those silent films, but they're not in the traditional, black and white silent films, but they are films that are more modernized, and they're built with soundtracks and mood, with the lighting, the cinematography, and the acting that drives the film. So yeah, they're still there, and they're very powerful, because if you can reach an audience emotionally without saying a word, for 15, 20 minutes, that's power.
See, I'm going to date myself again. I remember going to school, going to college, that we were able to have the TV on, the music playing, cooking, and doing our homework, and the TV was turned down, but we could understand what was going on with that movie without hearing the sound at all. And that's when we developed. Hey, we multitask, and we could do that and relate to the movie and know what's going on. Then was always somebody come in, man, cut the volume. I said, no, don't cut that volume up. I said, we're doing good, right? Well, I can't hear it. Go home. You're not coming over here messing. But those are some things that we did when we were growing up, going through school, because you had to juggle things and do things, and you couldn't watch TV. And sometimes to this day, the football game be on, I watch football, the volume out on, I'm doing other things.
Right.
Because I got a studio in the house, I'm working it, and they're doing things. I turn around, look every once in a while, look at the game, and I keep on going my merry way. So if anybody could do that, my hats is off to them, because that's not an easy task to do, to sit down there and do multitasking and then making a movie. You know, multitasking, doing that, especially if you're the only person doing that.
Well, that's one thing as an independent filmmaker. I'm telling you, you wear 10 hats, man. You got 10 jobs, because you know as independent filmmakers, you're writing it, you're directing it, you're producing it. You're oftentimes, I got the brothers from Messiah and I think Beautiful Life. They may have DP'd it, which is director of photography. Done it. When it goes to distribution, you're promoting, you're doing the marketing, so you really wears 10 hats, as opposed to a studio film. You have your departments, you have your prop department, your gaffer and grip department and lighting, and you have all those departments and people in those departments that bring it together. But like when I say it's a miracle to make a film, it's a miracle to make a film, because you have to do so much behind the scenes to get it to see the light of day. So yeah, it's pretty, and editing too. A lot of producers, directors are editing their own works as well, as opposed to having a department that does that.
Yeah, and last question. So when somebody does do a film, people watching and want to know how long it'll take. You can't put no time limit in doing a film. You can't jump up and say, I'm gonna knock this out tomorrow.
If you had the money, you can put it on a time frame. But a lot of times it's a money thing. Like I shot my first film on a weekend, and then I ran out of money, and so I had to get money. So I shot the last day of that 3-day shoot a year later. So, and then editing came a year later after that. I mean, the film Sankofa that I worked on, he wrote that year. It took 10 years to produce it, to bring it to light, to actually make it happen. And then the struggles between stopping and then having to get money again for editing. And so it depends on your budget, what's available to you. But if you have the money, you can just go straight through. You can go straight through it. But a lot of times that is the challenge, as is the challenge with the film festival. I mean, we do an incredible job every year to bring 3 to 4 days of, and we're talking not just a day, we're talking full days. This film festival, like for instance, we have for SABIF, which everybody needs to go to their website now that's listening. You can multitask like we're doing. But if you go to sabiff.tv, sabiff.tv, which is San Antonio Black International Film Festival acronym. But we have 3 full days. We have 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., 9 a.m. to midnight, 3 days. So, it takes a lot to put that together. You have to do your pre-production in terms of selections and curating, and then you got to get the graphic artists and stuff to design things to send out, the press releases. There's a lot going on. We offering what we just did this year. SABIF 2024. Our focus is on wellness, health and wellness. So we titled or themed the festival "Refocus, Recharge, Refresh." And that's looking at film through the lens of health, history, and healing. And really just humanity, how our stories are common for humanity. Our images are part of humanity. So we break that down to 3 days this year. Typically we have 4, but because it's a refocus year, we decided to cut out of our red carpet opening reception and our Ankh Achievement Award. We're not doing that this year, but we are bringing in the inaugural community award that we've established, that we're going to do on Sunday, the 6th at Tony G's, and that's the Mbuku Community Award. And the Mbutu Award, that is first of all, that's a Zulu or South African term meaning I am because we are, and that is such a strong, just a strong affirmation to what we, to the community members that we are giving the award to, because of the work and the commitment that they give along the lines of art, history, culture, here locally in San Antonio. So this year we're focusing on awardees that have given back to the youth, youth empowerment, and we're awarding Bruce Adams from Sam Houston High School Band, Deanna Brown from Forward Progress, and she also runs EYCCP, and Alex Bailey from Black Outside. So those are 3 organizations that they've started, that they have done phenomenal work with youth. When you're working with youth, you gotta be, you gotta be a therapist, you gotta be a teacher, you got to be, a mentor, parent. Yeah, there's a lot, but teaching these kids that there's alternative things out there to enhance their lives, to empower them to be, great contributions to our society. Yes. All of these programs embody that. So we're gonna give them our Mbutu Award on Sunday, October 6th. We have an awards brunch for filmmakers on the 6th. We're bringing in entertainment to Tony G's normal brunch. We're enhancing it 10x with entertainment by Devon Soul, a trio, as well as 34K. Yes. They're going to be performing, and we'll have giveaways. And Keith Scott is again coming back for that as our MC for that day. So we have a really nice closing brunch on Sunday, and folks need to get their tickets early to that online because it is a smaller venue. Last year we had a bigger venue, but people were buying tickets last minute, and it sold out. And the catering, we didn't have as much catering to meet the needs of people, so we're cutting it off early this year.
Yeah, there you go.
Cutting it off early. People need to go to sabif.tv and get their tickets for that as soon as possible. But in addition to our Sunday Glory Awards brunch, on Saturday, the October 5th, we're having Black Independent Film Showcases. Again, I tell you, we're doing the film showing simultaneously, 34 films around the world, Texas film blocks. All of that will be Saturday all day at the Little and Big Carver here in San Antonio. We'll have food trucks in the parking lot because we want people to be able to, eat between watching films all day and stretch and, go around. Yeah. So that's all day Saturday. And then Saturday evening is a beautiful Cinema Under the Stars opportunity for bring the community together for our pop-up screening of The Beautiful Struggle, a premiere film by Dallas filmmaker Rock White, and wonderful romantic comedy. We don't see much of those anymore.
No, sure don't.
And so when we saw this, it really hit home. It was different. It was unique. It was just warming, and to our spirit. And he also has T. Carson in that. It was from In Living Single. He's in that film.
Oh,
he's in his film. Yeah, he has him in there. But we're having just a marketplace and film screening. We have DJ from Dynamite AV is going to be DJing and showing music videos. We have giveaways. We have health information tables, vendors. So we're asking people, Cornbread Yoga is going to be up in there demonstrating. And the Carver Community Cultural Center is actually bringing their newly released Artsmobile. That's going to be at the facility. So the Lockwood Dinwiddie Park over off Hackberry and Olive Street. Oh my God, it's a huge park. We have multiple activity going on for the entire family. We're just asking folks to bring their lawn chairs and their blankets and just enjoy. Yes. So that's on the 5th. And then the 4th, of course, we open up on Black Friday, which we titled October 4th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to be at Tanks. We start off a student field trip. So we have a matinee just for students and seniors at the Carver in the morning. And then at 1, the Film Commission is having coffee talk there. They're sponsoring lunch at Tank's Pizza, and that's a huge networking time. And then we have happy hour later that evening at the Aiden. Aiden Hotel, and we have Brothers Talk Directing at the Aiden Hotel, where these brothers are talking about directing the process, the experiences. Just a really wonderful exchange hosted by our very own filmmaker here, Dat Maine Duane, is going to be hosting that. And we're bringing in the filmmakers from Dallas are going to be that, as well as local filmmakers. And then we chill out. During that time also, SACAM, we partnered with SACAM, and they're doing a film screening at the Carver as well. So that's kind of two things going on at one time. You can choose watching the history of the Green Book, Guide to Freedom, and the filmmaker Yoruba Richin is going to be brought in for that at the Carver. And then the evening wind down where everybody can come together, well, that can fit in the club. We're going to be at the Aiden No Vacancy Speakeasy, and you got to make reservations for that because that's a limited seating. But that's going to be until midnight on that evening on Friday night. So that's it. That's the 3 days. Lots of activities, very thought out, to be impactful. We want people to have memorable experiences and continue to help us in building our audience and exposing people to the importance of Black independent film.
Okay. Ooh.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Are you breathing over there?
That's a lot. No, I'm stressing though because I got a week to kind of, I appreciate you so much for letting us be on, because one of the things that's very important is getting the information out to the people. We could do all this and nobody comes. So
Exactly.
To build our audience, for people to support what we do, and really appreciate what we do and what they see and what they experience is really important for us.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming on by the studio today, and looking forward for all this going on starting October 4th.
Yes.
Ada, thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you. Everybody go to saybif.tv for more information and tickets, and hope to see you there.
Okay. All righty. Catch everybody later. This is Ron G on WSAN Radio. Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.